Hello and welcome to Wisdom's Peaceful Harmony. I'm Dr. Lynette Wiest. I'm a clinical psychologist, and this video is part 2 of a 2-part series on respectful disagreement. Part 1 talked about some of the fundamentals of respectful disagreement and some of the ingredients that go into having a respectful disagreement. In this video, I'm going to talk for a minute about arguing and then share some more of the ingredients that go into a healthy and respectful disagreement. And so, communicating about disagreements in unhealthy ways can often lead to arguments. Arguments are often oppositional and they promote offensive and defensive attitudes. Arguments do not tend to create a sense of trust or consideration or confidence. And if you want to influence the other person's ideas, you don't want to argue. You want them to be open. So you want to share ideas, and then you want to respectfully discuss and disagree. This way, you'll avoid triggering feelings of defensiveness, of inadequacy, of aggression, or withdrawal. So keep in mind that minds are changed when seeing a situation or a problem differently. But you have to have an open mind in order to be able to see differently. The other person has to have an open mind too. You want to promote them to hear you. This requires open minds for new information and not a wall of defense and not an attack of offense. If the other person believes that they need to defend themselves or defend their ideas, then an open mind is not likely. So be respectful, be honest, and be open to difference. And in this way, your loving intentions are not apt to be overlooked, but they are most apt to be understood. And so I'm going to talk some more about the ingredients that go into a respectful disagreement. You want to respect and appreciate your differences. You don't want to insist that the other person has to think or feel the same way that you do. So just because they don't agree with you does not mean that they're not listening. Keep that in mind. Next, you don't want to blame the other person for how you think or how you feel. Make sure that you take responsibility for yourself. Next, be patient. Next, do not bring in a biased third party for support of your position. That's not going to keep the other person open. Next, express your disappointment, any disappointment you have, without nagging, without complaining, and without pouting. Don't bring emotion into it. This is not the time or the place. Next, if tension is building, warn the other person that you might need a timeout. Don't walk away. Don't take a timeout unless you state a beneficial intent to your doing so. For example, you might want to say, I need a timeout to gather up my thoughts and feelings, or I need to step away in order to calm down so that I'm going to be better able to focus on what you have to say and better able to discuss and to express myself. Now, be sure that you understand that if you initiate a time out, then it's your responsibility to resume the discussion. Whoever initiates the time out really is the person who needs to resume the discussion, or it's their responsibility. The other person could, but if you take the time out, be sure that you come back and initiate the discussion again. Next, ask for clarification. Don't assume that you know what the other person is saying. Ask questions. Next, speak only for yourself. Do not try to represent the other person's thoughts or feelings. So you want to use I statements. You don't want to use you statements. If you don't know what the I statements and you statements are, look for a future video on that because I will talk about that in detail, and it's also on the website. Next, you want to recognize your blind spots. Now, don't assume that you have all the answers. You have blind spots. Everybody has blind spots. We may be aware of some of our blind spots, but we're definitely not aware of some of them too. Next, strive for a mutual understanding. Don't shut down the other person's point of view, so don't try to win. Next, if it's appropriate, reach a compromise. And then lastly, try to agree to end the disagreement if you no longer want to continue. If you have had enough of it, just respectfully end the disagreement, and then if needed, arrange a later time to discuss the issue again. I hope this has been helpful, and if you'd like more information, please visit the website at www.wisdoms, that's wisdoms with an S on the end, wisdomspeacefulharmony.guru. Welcome.